Ladies and gentlemen, Randy here with RTS Mobile Gaming. I am bringing you an absolutely dynamite video for the Lord of the Rings Rise to War. Today, we are talking about an amazing mechanic that was discovered by my good friend Jay Mills and tested further by Jay Mills, Fisk Wizard, and the group over in the Forge Discord, okay? So, if you are interested in cutting edge theory crafting and new mechanics being identified and talked about, go join the Forge Discord group, okay? The link is in my description below. So, into the actual mechanic discovered. As you can see here on my screen, I have a report. It has Gandalf the White, which Jay Mills was sacrificing to test the build, against Fisk Wizard's Theoden, okay? Gandalf the White is level 50 with absolutely phenomenal gear. He is respect 12 or 13 here, so very strong Gandalf the White. Theoden is level 48 with completely maxed out gear. A little bit higher maximalistic than Gandalf the White, with also very high respect 12 to 13 range level here, okay? So, the point of this build is not specifically how to counter Gandalf the White, although this build does completely counter Gandalf the White. The point is, this new mechanic that Jay Mills has identified enables players who are not high-level players to create builds that can counter meta-level Tier 2 and Tier 3 commanders, such as Gandalf the White. It also is a hard counter for Mouth of Sauron, for Sauron himself, for the Witch King, for Khamul, for the Undying, really for a lot of different commanders that apply debuffs to the enemy troops, okay? So, what is the mechanic and how does it work? And again, shout out to Jay Mills for identifying and testing this, and to the Forge group in that Discord down below for further testing, okay? The point of this build is Theoden's respect level 0 talent tree here, called the Renewed, okay? The Renewed is one of, if not the strongest cleansing commander ability in the game at this time. The Renewed will have a 100% chance to cleanse a random debuff from the entire army and the commander in round 2, and on a 1-round cooldown after that. For example, if we're comparing him to Dwalin or Arwen, both Dwalin and Arwen's cleanse comes into effect in round 3. Okay, Dwalin cleanses all of his army of 1 random debuff. Arwen only cleanses 2 of her army units of 1 random debuff, and neither one cleanses the commander themselves. Theoden's ability, the Renewed, cleanses both the army and the commander of a debuff in round 2 and on a 1-round cooldown after that, alright? So, one of the strongest, if not the strongest, cleanse ability currently in game right now. Very effective when removing enemy debuffs. Well, Randy, how does that affect Gandalf the White, you ask? I'll frickin' tell ya. Get excited. So Gandalf the White is going to debuff your troops in 2 ways, okay? He is going to apply the Wizard debuff to your troops. This is going to apply a stun and a defense reduction debuff, okay? So, you'll be able to cleanse those 2 effects, in essence, if you are cleansing the round of the stun, which unfortunately Theoden's round 2, the stun's round 1, but the minus defense ability actually lasts for rounds 2 and 3, okay? So, Theoden will theoretically be able to cleanse the minus defense on his troops. In addition to that, Gandalf the White applies another debuff. Gandalf the White's signature, very powerful, and one of the most favoritist, amazingest, awesomest abilities in the game, the White Rider, which increases the damage that an enemy army receives at 32% with 4 stacks. This is a debuff that is cleansable. Okay? Mic drop. Debuff is cleansable, which Jay Mills discovered in this groundbreaking theory crafting. Alright? So Jay Mills discovered that the White Rider is cleansable, which basically nullifies 32% damage from Gandalf and his army with a simple cleanse from Dwalin, Arwen, or in this case, Theoden, alright? Not only does he cleanse the debuff in all the current damage stacks, Gandalf only applies this debuff at the beginning of the fight, so once it's cleansed, it does not come back. Very, very strong. You can now counter White Doffs, baby. This also affects the Witch King and any other Ring Wraith with their ability here. Okay, let's take a look at that. The Ring Wraith ability is also a debuff. This increases the enemy's burn, poison, and focus damage received by 30%. This is also a debuff that can be cleansed. And most importantly, this build will hard counter any poor soul running Mouth of Sauron, because Mouth of Sauron applies 3 debuffs to your troops. And all of them are amazing, and all of them will break him if he doesn't have them, okay? The first debuff is the Harbinger of Darkness. This is cleansable. This is cleansable, guys. You can cleanse the Harbinger of Darkness, okay? So if your troops are afflicted by minus 75% damage for 3 rounds, you can cleanse that in round 2 with Theoden and have 2 rounds of full damage against Mouth of Sauron while his troops are minus 75% damage. Absolutely insane. In addition, we have the Master of Mischief, which is a debuff that's applied in round 3. This is cleansable. It inflicts madness and minus defense. Okay. Enfeeble is a debuff. This is cleansable. This is applied at the beginning of the fight. This can be cleansed in round 2. All right. And we have Disheartened, which is the Respect 5 talent that reduces the enemy damage by 21%. Absolutely enormous. If you can't use Dishearten or Enfeeble or Harbinger of Darkness as Mouth of Sauron, you might as well not even use Mouth of Sauron. So, case in point, that Fish Wizard's Theoden here with the Renewed ability will counter all of those commanders and any other commander with a similar debuff application on his units, okay? So, what this does mean is you will have to sacrifice 15 points from somewhere else in your build, which if you are only respect level, let's just say you're respect level 2, you're working with 52 points, then yeah, you're not going to have full damage on your build, right? So you're going to sacrifice a little bit of damage, but you're going to completely eliminate any debuffs on your troops, okay? So this will, in theory, weaken you against certain armies that don't apply debuffs, but hard counter to enemies like Gandalf the White or Mouth of Sauron or anybody else that relies on debuffs to make their build work. All right, so how does that look in an actual report? Let's take a look at that. And by the way, as Fish Wizard pointed out to me yesterday, this ability is actually extremely more valuable for people on RP servers because RP servers are not able to unlock, if you're on the good faction and you're using Theoden, you are not able to unlock the anti-burn damage chest. It does not drop from good faction Matham chests, okay? Which is ironic because there's not really any burn damage on the good faction for the evil faction to defend against. So it's only going to really help evil factions. So, because of that, that makes this cleanse so much more valuable because against a Witch King or another Ring Wraith unit that gives burn damage debuffs, you can reduce that army's damage by 30% by eliminating that debuff on your troops. So here we go. We are in the pre-battle phase. This is where the debuff is applied, okay? Gandalf the White has applied White Rider to the Bow Knight, Cataphract, and Ram Rider. They will all fall victim to damage received, plus when the round begins. In addition to that, we have the Wizard Stun, okay? The Ram Rider and Cataphracts are now affected by 2 more debuffs. The Stun is a debuff, and the Defense Reduction is a debuff. So now they're afflicted by 3 debuffs. The stun will go away after round 1. All right, let's just jump to round 2 and we'll check it out. Here in round 2, you can see that the Bow Knight, Cataphract, and Ram Riders all have a second stack of the White Rider. Theoden activates the Renewed. Theoden is cured. Bow Knights are cured. Damage received increase is dispelled. The Cataphracts are cured. The damage received debuff is cured. So now they have cured the White Rider debuff on both the Cataphract and the Bow Knights. Absolutely insane. Now, since Fish Wizard only has 13 out of 15 points into the Renewed for this particular test, he only has an 86% chance to cleanse the debuff. So the so the Ram Rider did not get afflicted by the Renewed. He is still debuffed. Check this out in round 3. This is the crazy part. This is the part that J Mills mic dropped on me yesterday. The White Rider continues to stack on the Ram Rider. The White Rider does not stack on the other 2 troops because it has been dispelled and is not reapplied. Double mic drop. Double mic drop, baby. You like that? So, very stiff counter to Gandalf the White. In addition, this ability will counter things like the Hysteria helmet and anything else that triggers on that type of cooldown. Depending on the unit's speed, it may cancel the first instance of the Hysteria debuff. If not, it will cancel the second instance of Hysteria debuff for sure. So, I'm trying to think how I can phrase it. If the units have initiative and they're faster than Theoden and they strike first, they will still be afflicted by the Hysteria. Okay? But if not, he should be able to cleanse Hysteria before it affects his units. Now, as far as how that affects Mouth of Sauron, let's take a quick look at one of those reports just so you can see how that looks in parity there. Okay, this is J. Mill's own Theoden, level 50, with the max level gear as well. Very nice gear. And he has 15 out of 15 into the Renewed, which is going to, as I said, dispel some of Sauron's debuffs. So remember when I said Sauron applies, 3 to 4 debuffs depending on what round it is or whatever? That is the case. Here we can go into the pre-battle phase and see all the debuffs as they're applied. Sauron has applied Dark Mantle. So now all of his units will receive 14% increased physical damage. That's a debuff. Sauron has applied Harbinger of Darkness. That is another debuff. Minus 75% damage dealt. He has applied Enfeeble, which is a third debuff on these folks, which is going to increase the damage they receive while maddened. Then we have a fourth debuff from Dishearten. Okay, Dishearten is the R5 talent. He's got it partially leveled up. He's got 15 out of 21% reduction here. This is the fifth debuff. So 1, 2, how many debuffs? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 debuffs, not 5. 4 debuffs applied in the pre-battle phase. So I'm not saying that Theoden will dispel all of the debuffs. I'm saying that he's going to dispel one of the 4 at random in round 2. Okay, so here in round 2, excellent. Theoden, the Bonites have initiative, so they actually attack before the dispel happens, because they had initiative and Theoden did not. But here the other troops, all the troops will be cured of their debuff. So Theoden is now cured. The Cataphracts are cured of their plus damage received from Enfeeble, so they're no longer going to take 40% increased damage when feared. The Marshals are cured by their minus damage, so they're no longer going to they're no longer going to have minus 75% damage dealt. And the Bonites are no longer going to have minus 75% damage dealt. Crazy, right? So, clearly you can see Gandalf the White and any other Mouth of Sauron or any other commander that relies on debuffing your units or your commander for their abilities. Like Adune is a perfect example. Her Respect 5 ability applies 2 debuffs to your commander. If you can cleanse those debuffs, game over. She's useless, okay? So, that is the groundbreaking research done by J. Mills and theory crafted and tested further by the folks over at the Forge. Again, check out the link in Discord. Love bringing you guys the hot content. Hopefully you like this. Give me the like and sub. I will catch you guys later. Randy out.